The night I researched for this video, I went to sleep and I was so genuinely traumatized and freaked out that I had nightmares that night of being attacked so bad that in my dream I was trying to claw at them with all my strength, only to find out that I was clawing my own face in my sleep. I am not joking. I'm gonna insert pictures. And I ran to the bathroom to see blood dripping down my face. This is so crazy. Like, I've never experienced anything like this in my life. Blood dripping down my face and blood under my nails. That just shows you how deeply this affected me. And I still have, I don't know if you can see, like, I try to cover it up with makeup, but it's obviously some scarring. Let's just blame it on Gypsy. It's all her fault at the end of the day because I would not be researching any of this if it wasn't for her. Anyways, you guys don't care about my face. Let's move on. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Danielle. Please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a video. Okay, so I had recently filmed a video on how Gypsy has become a full-fledged influencer these days. Though not in the way you'd expect. She is influencing people, that's for sure, but in the most negative ways you can imagine. So today I want to dive a little bit deeper into that because I believe the way she is influencing kids and teens these days is just awful and quite frankly horrifying. So I have two examples to share with you today of Gypsy influencing children. And one of them, sadly, is of a child who followed right in her footsteps and did the unthinkable to their own mom. Yeah, you heard me right. So we'll get into that later, but this first instance comes from the channel Sir Morbid. I've shared clips from his channel before. I've really come to enjoy his content and his sense of humor. I think he's hilarious. And he's really become kind of like the hub for all things Gypsy Rose. So if you want to stay up to date with her and all her shenanigans, I definitely give him a follow because he is covering everything. So I got this information from his channel, and instead of just like repackaging it and finding a way to share it myself, I figured let's just react to his video together. But I'm warning you, you're gonna wanna strap in and just let's watch. All right, so I'm gonna speed this up a little bit first because it's only 8 minutes, but I really don't wanna like sit here for that long.
Gypsy Rose, is she officially a danger to society and an extreme harm as far as influencing the younger generations? Well, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this one out. Recently, a concerned parent took these photographs of this middle school project and proceeded to upload them to Facebook to create awareness of the dangers of not only misinformation, but victim blaming as well as celebrating convicted murderers. A school project made by a 12-year-old. Let's go ahead and take a closer look. Went to my local county fair yesterday and saw this in the middle school projects area. Just think it's crazy how literal 12-year-olds know Gypsy unalive Dee Dee. The project being titled Dee Dee and Gypsy, with blood stains all across the board, as well as blood splatter. Here's a closer look at the blood stains and blood splatter. As you can see, even the blood splatter is on some of the photographs. The 12-year-old included the photograph famously taken by Gypsy Blanchard of both Dee Dee and Rod, where Dee Dee is actually playing with Rod's ear, while Gypsy sits on the lap of Dee Dee. The number one point stating this: Gypsy Rose was subjected to years of medical abuse by her mother, Dee Dee Blanchard, who suffered from Munchausen syndrome by proxy. Dee Dee convinced others, including medical professionals, that Gypsy was severely ill with various conditions, leading to unnecessary treatments and surgeries. Gypsy was confined to a wheelchair and falsely presented as having the mental capacity of a young child. All statements pushed by the media due to the defense's narrative that they were trying to spin if Gypsy Rose was going to go to trial. Misinformation at its best. Gypsy being subjected to years of medical abuse by her mother, that is not true. Dee Dee suffering from Munchausen syndrome by proxy, that is not true. Dee Dee convincing medical professionals to give unnecessary treatments and perform unnecessary surgeries, not true. Gypsy confined to a wheelchair, not true. Gypsy falsely presented as having a mental capacity of a young child, not true. All statements that have been debunked. The only thing you could see on this project page is a 12-year-old using blood splatter to design their middle school project, even going as far as using some of those crime scene photos. Congratulations to the parent who allowed this, even including the blood-soaked bed that Dee Dee, well, her lifeless body was found, with the bloody gloves, and yes, as well as the bloody knife. Point 4. In 2015, Gypsy conspired conspired with her online boyfriend Nicholas Godejohn to murder Dee Dee in order to escape the abuse. Again, not true. Gypsy didn't need to escape anything. She could have up and left. In fact, Gypsy was told by Dee Dee to leave. We all know Gypsy Rose's full intentions, which evolved around sexual fantasies and sick role-playing. Dee Dee was found stabbed to death in her home. Finally, some truth. The case gained significant media attention due to the shocking nature of the abuse. Again, not true. The fact is, the case gained significant media attention because they've never heard of a daughter that would do this to their own mom. And as the details came out about Nick's autism and the manipulation and the con involved, that was the shocking part. When Gypsy was able to just walk with no problems at all, even during her police interrogation. That was shocking. Not the nature of the abuse that really didn't exist, because they like to claim medical abuse. Well, the medical reports state otherwise. Continuing on, and the drastic measures Gypsy took to free herself. Drastic measures. I highly recommend reading all of the text messages between Gypsy and Nicholas. The only thing drastic and horrific is how casual Gypsy is about unaliving her mom and how almost excited she was that the day was finally there. Gypsy ultimately pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. Yes, we all know, because of the sweetheart plea deal, and served a 10-year prison sentence, only 8.5 years though, while Nicholas was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison. How does that make sense? Please make that make sense. Nick being convicted of first-degree murder, yet the mastermind behind the horrific act, the one who planned it all, premeditated. That ain't no second degree, that's first degree. And to do it to your own mom for the third time. Moving on to point 5, before the murder, Nick asked Gypsy about her mother. Oh wow, a topic that all 12-year-olds should talk about in their school project. Great job to this parent, great job to the teacher who allowed this, and great job to the school. Society is becoming a bit twisted. I get empathy, sympathy, but aim or angle your empathy towards the victims, not the ones that caused the victims, not the one that ruined several family members and friends, traumatizing a whole nation as well as the world. Gypsy refused to let him do that after Nick murdered Dee Dee. Gypsy claims that she allowed him to rape her instead of her mother. Again, this coming from a 12-year-old middle school project. Public school, by the way. But Nick says that it was a consensual act of sex that they both agreed to in her bedroom. And we all know the true story about that. From the bus station to the brownies. Cool as a cucumber, Gypsy Rose was, flaunting herself in her excitement with her voice being high-pitched, just as she does now, as she considers her some sort of influencer on social media. Pretty pathetic. A couple on Facebook chimed in, stating, damn, kids really are being influenced by this sick sociopath. Influence being the key word. I like the internet, but damn, it be screwing up some people's minds. And another chiming in saying, isn't this just gross? It's highly inappropriate for any child. And well, folks, here we are, our new reality, where young generations are being influenced by first-degree murderers, even as young as a 12-year-old, creating a school project with lies and misinformation and zero truth about a case in which a convicted murderer should be serving life in jail, cutting her mother's life short, having zero remorse, and now capitalizing off of that death. Parents should be concerned. People should be concerned. What is the future? To victim blame now? It used to be quite the opposite. Shaming murderers is not okay, but shaming victims is okay. Again, are we in bizarro world? And what do we do about it?
Okay, so I wanted to share that video just to illustrate to you that there are children that are being influenced by her in some of the worst ways, and they're becoming Gypsy apologists. Why are we allowing children to not only just learn about this, but like create a school project surrounding it? It's just insane to me and like highly inappropriate and just kind of disturbing, in my opinion. But this is why people believe that Gypsy should not have a platform. People want her to be deplatformed, and it's because she is influencing people, and not just that, but influencing our youth, which is way, way worse. In my opinion, if you are a convicted murderer, I believe maybe we should consider not allowing them to have a platform. I phrased that really oddly. I don't think convicted murderers should have a social media platform. I think that it's very dangerous and negligent for us to allow them to be online and have such a large following at that. It's just insane. It's very reminiscent to how Charles Manson was created. I mean, I can only imagine how many followers he would have had there been social media at that time. I think parents are rightfully concerned with her having such a massive platform and with her wanting to become a social media influencer. Like, who is she influencing? Let's ask ourselves that. And what exactly is she promoting? Like, what? It's all over the place. It's baby Doppler, vegetables on my stomach, fugly ass clothing hauls. I mean, the most awful makeup tutorials you've ever seen. I mean, the girl doesn't know how to blend to save her life. I'm not trying to be mean, but I mean, it's all over the place. What is she promoting? Seriously, I'm not trying to be mean. Honestly, somebody got on me for being a bully to her in one of my last videos, and it's like, The last thing I'm concerned about is being a bully towards a convicted murderer. I'm sorry, I just don't seem to care. And if that makes me a bad person, then oh well. Personally, I think it's dangerous and terrifying to know that a convicted murderer is online influencing our youth and has millions of followers. Okay, so this second example comes from Flawless Nina. And strap in, guys, because this is nightmare fuel. This is the one I was talking about, and it is truly horrifying and disturbing and gave me literal nightmares to the point where I was clawing my own face off.
The Gypsy Rose Blanchard dupe just got sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. Congratulations, Mississippi, because you got this one right. Now, when they read the verdict, she was hysterical. But when they gave her the sentence, she seemed to be composed. That was kind of odd to me. Do I think she had mental health issues? Absolutely. But do I think that that is a pass to have your mother unalived? No. And she even wrote, one witness said, it is okay to be evil. That should tell you everything you need to know. She was 14 years old. She picked up a pew-pew and ended her mom's life. This is definitely a Gypsy Rose dupe, other than the fact that she used a pew-pew and not an ice.
I could have sworn Nina explained the situation a little bit more, unless I'm thinking of a different video. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is that this young girl, Carly Gregg, 14 years old, released a weapon into her mom's face 3 times, then went on to text her stepfather from her mom's phone saying, "When will you be home, honey?" so that her stepfather would think it was her mom. She then called a friend to come over and turn around and asked her if she is squeamish around dead bodies. Then she proceeded to take her friend to her mom's room to show her her mom's body. Then her stepdad comes home. She tells her friend that she should just go wait in the backyard while she unalives her stepdad. She shoots at her stepdad. There was a tussle for the weapon. She runs off and she books it, unaliving her mom and attempting to unalive her stepfather. I researched this case for several days, staying up all night and causing myself to have nightmares about it, literally. So if you would like me to make a whole video on it and kind of go into detail about it, I can. There is also parts of the actual crime being committed caught on Ring camera, not the actual. You can hear it. Anyways, this is all extremely, extremely disturbing. It's literally what nightmares are made of. To me, there is probably no worse ending than to have the person you carried in your body for 9 months, you nurtured, you cared for, you gave birth to, you kept alive, just unalive you. I can't imagine anything worse. I really can't. It is horrifying. You might be asking yourself, how does this relate back to Gypsy Rose, Danielle? Like, what does this have to do with Gypsy? Well, in my opinion, she has played a massive role in normalizing certain behaviors, if you know what I mean. I'm not saying that she's solely to blame for this entire case and situation, but the danger lies in her social media following. We've created a culture that not only accepts, but glorifies individuals that have committed certain crimes. And to me, this sends a very, very troubling message to young people, saying that, you know, it's okay to take these drastic measures against your own family. You won't get in trouble. And if you do get in trouble, it'll be minimal. It might be a measly 8 years. And when you're released, you know, you will have millions of followers. You'll have a reality show, book deals, documentaries. You'll have all this stuff. So, you know, it's okay if you unalive your mom or your family member, because society, we accept that kind of behavior as long as we can come up with a good enough reason or a reason to justify it. Just look at Gypsy. If she can do it, you can do it too. This is what happens when we normalize people like her and normalize her actions. This is the outcome. And you know what? Do not be surprised when we see more children pulling a Gypsy Rose and offing their parents. And you know what? If you're sitting there and you're one of the people thinking, Danielle, you are reaching. This has nothing to do with Gypsy Rose. I would respectfully disagree. I think this issue is deeply connected to Gypsy Rose because people like her can influence others, especially children, so easily. And in fact, it was revealed during the Carly Gregg trial that she had been grappling with dark thoughts and morbid fantasies for a while before she committed the crime. And she had been sending like dark stories and memes, very violent things to her friends, and they were kind of exchanging violent memes. Here's the thing. Many young people turn to online forums and chat rooms, things like that. They turn to social media to find like-minded individuals, especially, when they feel misunderstood, when they're going through that teen/preteen age, or even if they're just struggling at school socially. And at that age, they're just starting to explore dark, edgy content, which is completely normal. I myself at that age had a scene/emo phase as well, yet I never resorted to crimes. I shouldn't say that. Not this crime. However, it can become a really slippery slope for some, especially when there is mental health issues at play. Mental health struggles can feel very daunting, especially at that young age. You can feel very alone, afraid, maybe lost. And when kids face changes in their body, in their mind, they oftentimes will turn to the internet for solace, comfort, friendship, whatever. So instead of seeking the help they need, like Carly Gregg, who did have her own mental health issues, they oftentimes will connect with others online who share their same struggles, which is nice to be able to relate to somebody. But the problem with this is, one, it's not monitored, so they could be saying anything. And two, many times they start exchanging stories, sometimes instigating each other, until they are spiraling deeper and deeper and deeper into the darkest, most debaucherous corners of the internet, much like Carly Gregg did. And what worries me is the possibility of kids or teens either going online to look for or stumbling upon Gypsy Rose's social media or her story, and then, being influenced by her to commit crimes like this themselves. And you know what? It's important to clarify that mental health itself does not lead to crime. Many people with mental health struggles do not resort to violence whatsoever. Hell, I even struggle with mental health issues. However, when these mental health issues are exploited and manipulated, it can lead to very tragic outcomes, as we can see. And in fact, Carly's case is a clear example of this because she was actively looking for dark content before she committed her crime, and both Gypsy and Nick both engaged in really dark, debaucherous behaviors online. And in fact, if we want to talk about exploitation and manipulation of mental health issues, we need to look no further than Gypsy's relationship with Nick. Much of their dynamic played out online, and they sought out dark and troubling content together, and she manipulated his already fragile mental state. What I'm trying to say is that when individuals with already dark thoughts and fantasies encounter Gypsy Rose and her content online, they may want to emulate that. I think it's important to acknowledge the impact Gypsy and people like her have on vulnerable minds and the consequences of allowing her to maintain such a massive online presence while gaining fame and profiting off the unaliving of her mother. I think right now, as a society, we are sending a message that this is completely acceptable as long as you are justified in your reasoning. And I think we need to change that and emphasize as a society that this is not okay. This is not acceptable. And taking measures like this is never the answer. I can't tell you how many times I've read comments and I'll click on their page and go to their TikTok, and it's like children saying things like, Gypsy's mom deserved it. She had it coming. That kind of stuff. It's like, no, I just can't say this enough. I think we are really sending the wrong message by glorifying her story. I think this has been super tragic, and I can't believe this is where we are right now as a society. Like, it's so crazy. To me, this is like so much deeper than just a reality show. To me, it's like very concerning that we are glorifying this person who unalived their mom. I think it's like actually really scary. And I think we shouldn't be surprised when things go terribly wrong. We've created this, and I'll be the one saying, I told you so. But now I'd like to hear your thoughts about Gypsy's online presence. Do you think she should be deplatformed, or do you think she should be allowed to continue profiting off her past? I'll have links to Flawless Nina and Sir Morbid's channel in the description. Make sure to check them out. And that's all I have for you guys today. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Bye, guys.